All right, we're on.
Excellent. I like the masking unit. Relax, enjoy, play, fun, win. Looks good.
It is
nice and easy for a couple of shots.
If I were to play for score,
Yep.
I would be playing very far outside. I guess I can still do that.
Well, are you worried about score?
No.
Okay, then don't worry about score.
Okay.
Play wherever you want to play. Okay?
Okay.
Just execute shots. Because I don't care about ball motion. If we want to talk ball motion and do it later on, we can do that. But for now,
fair enough.
Just execute shots.
Okay. Not think that would hit the head pin.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first shot was with sailing right past it, never wrinkled.
Pretty much skid almost the whole way. Where it looked like it was supposed to pick up, it just kept flying past that.
Yeah.
Right?
They get probably carry down, I'm assuming.
Well, imagine what's been going down the lanes all day long.
Yeah.
Plastic balls, house balls, right? Nobody out here has been bowling like you're going to bowl. So in that regard, in that environment, I get exactly what you're going for where you're playing. If we wanted to play lanes, we wouldn't play lanes on this. Meaning I'd ask them at the front counter and say, hey, let's do something to this pair. Let's freshen up, get some back ends at least. Because right now, if we try to play lanes, we can move you around and show you what's possible, but it's not going to be applicable to what we want to see. So it's here. It's right from the foul line back here now, as opposed to let's worry about what's going on down there. Okay? All right, one or two more. Those are good, guys. Those are really good.
It's actually hooked.
Yeah. So stay there, one or two more.
Okay.
And swing direction, swing alignment. When you miss, which way do you miss? Inside, outside?
I usually miss left.
Okay. Same problem I have. When I bowl and I throw shots, I miss left more than I miss right.
I used to miss right when this was more pronounced, but I'm getting better about that. So if I ever miss, it's usually because I muscle it down.
Because you help it. Yeah, you help it go through. Okay. All right. Same thing. One more shot. Initially, in just a couple of shots you're throwing, I'm just kind of watching. It doesn't look to be a time. Have you worked on your timing at all? Or timing issues at all recently?
Not lately. I feel like I've worked on in the past.
It doesn't look like a liability. I go through my checklist in my head of stance, start, timing, arm swing. And the three things that point out to me that I really look for are timing, arm swing, and release. So the timing to me, sequence-wise, I just want to know if you touch base on anything because it looks good. It looks clean to me. I wouldn't change a thing on where you're starting, how you're landing. Your physical ability to go start to finish looks clean. I don't see anything that's a hiccup right away. Okay. The nuances of you missing one way or the other, or maybe not having swing alignment the right way, may not be just swing shape. It could be release to the point where when it comes off my hand a certain way, it's not the same way each time. And sometimes when I relax my hand a little more, it might go to my right. When I stay through it and I kind of muscle strong through it, it may miss to my left. So it might be more here than it is swing shape alignment. Just a thought process.
How I'm coming out of the ball, or you're talking about muscling down?
Both.
Okay.
Either how you come into the downswing at release and how you let go of it. Because letting go of it can not just be in the direction of your swing plane. It can be with rotation a different direction. And so if you miss occasionally, it may not be that my swing alignment was off. It may just be my hand did the wrong thing at the bottom of the swing. And I did more or less of rotation or tilt or whatever it was. So
consistency.
It's pretty clean. What I like so far, and if I go down my checklist, timing looks good. Arm swing shape is consistent and smooth. Your tempo and rhythm good. Your balance is great at the foul line. On one foot, trail legs behind you, opposite arms in front and the top of the backswing. You've got a lot of great features already that now we're just dialing in what feels right to what is going to perform right on the lanes. Okay? Another shot. You're good. Come on across. Yeah. Okay. That feel like a smooth swing to you, or is there something?
Yeah, generally.
Of the 3 shots I've watched from the back view, that's the only one I've seen go in behind your back a little bit. From the back, from the top of the forward swing into the back swing.
That's the most behind my back?
That's the most behind your back I've seen of the 3 shots. I asked that because I didn't know if you were feeling what I was seeing or not. And it's not much. It's only about a half a ball length, maybe a little less than that, maybe a couple of inches behind your back at most. It doesn't look like it's in the way, but it's enough to give you a different feel of release and perhaps give you a different angle at launch.
Yeah, and that intentional push left,
yeah,
I can say I wasn't thinking about that as much on that shot.
Right. Okay. Come here, guys. Right here, no, right here. Do me a favor and just watch his timing for a second. We talked about timing sequences, right? Yep. Come over and watch his timing. He's going to throw a couple shots for us. All we're looking for is when these start, are they starting at the same time? Does it look like the sequence at the top of the swings at the pivot step? Did you get through at a clean release? Ball returns in the way, right? Couple more, same thing. Pretty clean getting started. Not a lot of hiccups or bumps in the way. It looks like it's actually pretty smooth. If you don't slow it down and look at it, you're probably not going to catch much in the way of something being wrong, because it's actually pretty sharp. Throws it pretty well. Think the arm swing's a little late getting started?
Just a little, not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Okay, give me 2 more. Okay. I just noticed one thing on that shot and the shot before it. A strike ball to a spare ball. Watch his setup. When he gets into position, occasionally he'll bend his knees slightly to kind of feel a flex, but he won't settle into a flex and kind of find a position. What he does is he'll kind of pop back out, and then he'll lean forward in his posture going forward. See, he's upright. And see how quickly he goes forward. You can shoot the spare too. Okay. So his posture is going to start upright. When he gets the ball into motion, his first move is to kind of tilt forward, right? So that change in posture will not just change timing, but it can change arm swing shape, right? See him lean into it? When he starts his approach, everything is up here. Then he's going to lean into the shot as he gets going. Everything changes here. And so from this position to a change in direction can easily change where the swing shape is going to go behind you. So my first impulse, I'm not seeing much wrong here, but I want to get the feeling of what's different from shot to shot if I can get him to stay in the same spot. I want him to preset this and let this stay in the same spot, shoulders and upper body, and see if he can swing with his arm and not feel like he swings with his whole body. Okay? Oh, I'm letting him in on the tips.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm just listening.
All right, last one, then I'm going to give you a tip after this.
Okay.
So watch his stance when he starts upright, and then watch him go into the downswing to start. That one, when he landed, okay. Why don't you stand right there for me? Okay, what I'm explaining to these guys is that when you start your approach, you're upright and stable. Your first move in the arm swing direction and your body position is to lean into the shot, everything. So you're kind of cradling or carrying the ball with you in position. Whether it is carried softly and lands behind you or whether you just let your posture stay upright will make a difference in your swing shape. So I'd like to try something to see if you can feel a difference in it, because occasionally at your finish, I'll see you go into position. When you go to the downswing, from the downswing to the release, you'll give me one of these and you'll finish upright, which will change direction. Or the last shot you threw for your spare, you get into position here, and then you stay here and nothing moves, just the arm swing moves. So this motion down here is affected by what you do back here. So I want to stabilize this, and I don't care which way you want to do it. If you want to stay taller and try to keep taller, or if you want to preset a little bit. What I don't want to try is I don't want you to lean into the flow of it and lean too far forward, because if you go too far, you got to bail out of it.
Right.
If you don't go far enough, you stay in it, which is solid and good, means your swing shape is going to be probably pretty straight. But I want you to be aware of what your posture looks like going into the downswing of the ball. Okay? And you can choose.
The uprightness is something that's intentional for me.
Okay.
It's like a change I've made just to have better leverage. I don't know if I'm saying the right words, but
sure.
This is higher, and I try to stay I try to stay high.
You try to stay upright, okay.
And then that's the intent, is to start upright and get lower at the line. But yeah, if I'm popping up, then I'm getting down too early.
As a team, how much spine tilt do you see going forward in his posture?
Right off the bat.
Initially, when he starts, is it minimal? Is it a lot, or is it excessive? I'd say a lot. He goes from upright to almost like a 45-degree angle, and then with his swing shape, carries his momentum with that. He'll tilt forward more and then have to come back out of it. So I like the idea of you staying upright, but you don't stay upright when you get started. The panel says, the panel agrees that we don't stay upright when we start. Yeah. So if your feeling is that you're trying to stay more upright, your feeling needs to almost feel like you are walking upright, and the odds are you'll go into some position. Or you can preset it, right? Presetting it means I'm going to not just stay upright, but I'm going to set it here. I'm going to leave it here through the approach.
There instead of trying not to go too far.
Yep.
Go as far as I want and stay there.
You're going to stabilize.
Push forward. Right as the ball is reaching this spot.
He's recorded you on the side view.
I actually took it slow-mo.
So you move with the ball. So you got a choice to move to preset and let the ball swing, or keep moving with the ball. But once you keep moving, you got to stop somewhere. Mm-hmm. You can't keep rocking with it and then try to finish it, because you're changing the lever, right? You're changing the pivot points. All you're doing. Yeah. All right. So let's give it a try. Let's try one of the two. See what works.
It's almost like I was making a move, an intentional decision, and it's having the opposite effect.
Yeah. And it's not a bad thing. It just means that if you have too much motion or too much movement, you can scale it back down to something smaller, which is what we're going to try and do here.
Yeah.
It will change the swing shape feel of what you're doing, but it shouldn't change too much of it. You'll feel this change, but you shouldn't feel a lot of this change. And I don't want this to change yet. I'd rather feel this stabilize first, so that at least we're getting in the same direction down lane. Go a couple shots and see. Is that different? Can you guys see something different in that? Yeah, so not only does it stabilize when he gets there, but it stays through the approach, and it doesn't rock forward or lean back. Yeah, it stayed there. How'd that feel?
So you're changing levels.
Yeah.
It's going to be harder for you to hit your target, right?
Yes, 100%. If your posture goes forward, if you're rocking through your posture and this moves with it, it'll change a couple of things, right? If your pendulum moves back and forth, it'll change how fast or slow this moves. Whether it stays in line or not, it'll change what your hand looks like at the bottom, because on some of the shots where you're leaning up and trying to rotate it, or some where you're stable and rotating through it, will make a difference in accuracy down lane to the nth degree. It'll make a small change, but enough of a change to change the trajectory down lane for sure.
You still moved with the ball much more subtle than you did the first time. So it looked like you were kind of fighting it all the way, and that's just not a habit.
Yeah.
But when you finally got to the end, you came down into the release.
And never did this, never come back out of it. Everything was stable and straight through.
That first video I got, right at the release, you're bouncing or bobbling back up.
Yep. Yeah. Couple shots. I'll let you marinate in it for a second, okay?
Marinate.
We need to let him get a feel for it. And he's probably going to have an adjustment with his posture even more than we're seeing initially, because he's going to be aware of it the whole time, right?
On that last one, he was here.
He dropped. Well, and that's his tendency still, and he levels off. Yeah.
He held that direction.
Yep. Good. Really good. Yeah.
Feels like I'm really tall, but that's the point.
Yeah. He said it feels like he's really tall, but that's kind of the point of what he's trying to do is.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought I noticed that you're a little bit slower now.
Well, I think I'm probably tentative because I'm trying something different and trying to do specific things rather than just kind of letting go. But yeah, that's a good point.
Back to it. Do it again. You want to do it with spare shots too, either way.
Okay.
You don't have to shoot them if you don't want to, but you can if you like.
I mean, I might as well just do the same thing with this ball, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think? What do you see? What do you think so far? We're gonna let you keep bowling, doing your thing.
On the spare ball, it seemed like he was dipping down a little bit on the spare ball.
That's what I saw on the last spare shot too.
I don't know if it's a fit thing or if it's just a old habit.
Could be.
Around it. You're not relaxing my arm because I'm thinking about other things.
Yeah. That's okay. Not a concern with all the other pieces getting in the way. And this may not even be the piece that helps correct what we're trying to work on, so to speak. But it's in the right direction of, number one, giving you a stable foundation to at least keep the swing shape the same whether you miss in or out each time. But it's definitely a liability if we do have too much posture change over the course of the approach.
Makes sense.
Yep.
I saw the trees going like this in the corner of my eye.
The masking unit got him. The Neoverse got
Not
him.
a good masking unit. Hey!
It's a good focus drill.
The Neoverse. Attacked by the Neoverse.
It's a science fiction movie, isn't it?
Yeah, right? What's that feel like?
I felt like I slowed it down too much at the bottom.
Okay.
But, I mean, it felt comfortable.
Yeah. Other than the finish where everything kind of pulled up and you kind of bailed out of the shot at the release as opposed to being stable with it, the rest of it for swing shape and direction looks good. I don't see a big liability in what you're doing at the moment at all. It's not changing enough of your game to see something significantly different, but at this point it's mostly feel of what you feel is happening versus it's actually being delivered on the floor. So.
I feel like I'm getting around it early.
Are you? Okay.
That one felt good.
That one felt good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I might have missed right.
Yeah, that missed right by an arrow, at least. Yeah. But still stable at the bottom of the swing.
I was trying to stay inside that one.
Yeah. Do me a favor. Pick it up for me. Pick up the ball for me. Put just your thumb in for me at the bottom. Okay, and just lay your hands across the top. That's good. Okay, you're fine. Okay. Just making sure. Sometimes I'll see whenever your hand loads in, I'm looking at it from the front. Sometimes it looks like you might be pulling to get a feel of the ball somehow, and it's not a long span.
They feel big.
Do they?
Yeah. I need new
Maybe
grips.
some new inserts.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not affecting swing shape and posture, but it's just something to be aware of. That's good. What's that feel like compared to the last one?
That felt like I lifted up too much, but I heard you say that's good.
To me, posture-wise and release point, it was solid off the
Yeah,
chain.
posture-wise, it felt good.
Yeah, so I'm focusing on that as the key because that's where our component is at the moment. But if it does feel like something is in the way of that, then it's good to know what those pieces are too. Yep. Go ahead. One more time.
It feels like I'm releasing it too high.
Does it?
But well, I could probably use more loft.
High compared to where you were getting much lower in.
Lower, so of course it does.
And yeah, it should. You can absorb that with the knees a little bit. Start with your knees flexed a little bit more just to see.
Okay.
If you can keep that low feeling but the posture straight and see if it changes the feeling. And the knees only feel like they're maybe a half an inch to an inch at the most lower. They're not much. It'll feel like a lot, but it shouldn't be much at all. There you go.
I like that one a lot.
Like that better? Okay.
I'll see you tomorrow, Coach.
All right, man. Be good.
I'm going to head home. So
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. So I noticed, I told the crew here in a second, earlier on, I said, it looks to me whenever you start, as if whenever you start, sometimes your posture's upright, but then your legs feel like they bounce a little bit, but then they come right back up. It's almost locked. I won't say they're locked as in.
Oh, so you said like bend it a little bit. I did, and then it just came right back up?
Well, no. Because, no, I didn't mention the knees at all previously, but what I would see was when you were setting up, before we did any adjustments.
Oh, okay.
When you were setting up, you would almost simulate a little bit of knee bend like you're trying to get there, and then you would just kind of stand up taller out of it before you would get going.
Yeah.
So it's like you wanted it, and you knew it was supposed to be there, but something in your body or something in your setup went, this is where I start. This is how I'm making it happen. So
yeah, I mean, that's my intent is stand up straight with a little bend.
Yep. Well, I would see a little bend, and then what I would see was before you would get going, that bend would go away.
So I would just be straight up.
You just go right back to straight up again. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe cognizant or maybe cautious of making sure that you remind yourself that I'm supposed to do it. So when I tell you to do a little extra because your posture's taller, it's closer to what you need.
I'm giving the little break that I think I'm doing already.
Yep, exactly right.
That one I know I muscled down.
Yeah, not as good. Not as good at all. Try it again. So I'm adding a couple of little nuances as he's practicing, right? He feels like he's real tall at the foul line. And as he starts tall and he maintains that posture and doesn't bend as far forward, it does make sense that he feels like he's too tall compared to where he's used to being, right? And so he says, if I'm trying to keep the posture the same, what should I be doing with the rest of my body? Basically, it's flex the knees and preset the posture. Because remember when I said earlier, it looked to me like he was trying to bend his knees but not bending them. He'd bend them and then he'd do what? Come right back up, right back to straight. And so I explained that to him and I said, it looks like you're trying and want to get there, but you just talk your way out of it, so to speak. You do it without even thinking about it. So when he says I need to be taller at the foul line, I feel like I'm taller at the foul line. How do you get lower? Do what you're trying to do. Stay there. Don't let that come out. So be conscious of what that's doing and how it's affecting your approach. And so the two things now are obviously preset posture. Let it get to whatever position and stay there. And don't forget it when you get ready to go. Keep your knees bent. And the first shot he threw after bending his knees, he said it felt better. He liked it, said it felt better, and says, I could do that more often. So those are the two keys, at least minimally for now. Posture preset, make sure it stays in the same spot. But before that, bend and stay there. Okay? You guys can move around if you want. You don't have to be on the approach. You can watch the back view or side or whatever. That's good. That's pretty good. At least visually from my coach's eye, it looks pretty good. How's it feel?
The timing felt different there, and I couldn't decide if it was because I was doing something or if it's just different because of the change.
Just being different. Yep.
Yeah.
The sequence of how fast or slow you're moving doesn't look like it's changed your ball speed. Your hand still looks like it's coming off the bottom. If I can make one small recommendation to the adjustment, when you rotate at the bottom of the swing, sometimes it's a little more, a little less, depending on kind of what you're feeling up here. It'll affect how your hand comes out. In the back of your mind somewhere, not where you're trying to do a change specifically, but try not to feel like you're letting it rotate a lot. Feel like your hand almost is doing nothing at the bottom of the swing to the point where you don't feel like it's a result of something happening. You're just rolling the ball. Yeah.
Just going through it.
Because that response to you when I see you kind of talk about that or when I hear you say something about it, kind of reminds me that that's a focus point for you and it's all a result of what got you there. And so let the hand just do what the hand does and focus on these pieces going into it and see what the hand does.
Okay.
Okay. Posture still looks good.
I feel like I got muscly. I feel like I pulled it down a little bit.
Okay.
because I was just like, be free to just throw it. And I got a little excited.
Helped a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, I mean, it didn't. I mean, I wasn't really trying anything on it, and it had plenty on it.
Plenty, yeah. That less is more concept works.
Hey!
All right, couple more.
Are you trying to watch everything at once, or you just trying to watch
Nope.
that one thing you're working on?
So our focus is posture and knee bend. So those are the first two things I check. As those two look like they're happening, then I look for results. My results are not of the ball and the foul line, or the ball and the result on the lane. My result is where is he finishing? How does it look and feel for him from what I see for finishing? And then I occasionally will ask his response. How did it feel? What did you think? What's it like? And so the only other addition I kind of made him aware of was the bottom of the swing. He felt like sometimes it was a little bit extra, like he's trying to muscle it or help it. I said, in the back of your mind somewhere, just let the ball come off your hand the way it wants to come off. Don't feel like you're helping or directing or trying or anything. Just, you've got plenty of hand. You're plenty strong. Your hand's in a good spot. Let your hand let go of the ball. And the first shot he threw doing that, he said, yeah, there's plenty on it in the back of the lane. We don't care about the lane result and reaction, but I'm trying to make sure, number one, we preset the two pieces we're trying to get done. Number two, do they give us the right result? And then after that, if I'm evaluating from my coach's eye, it's okay, is the ball reaction consistent? Is it the same? Does it look different all of a sudden because of what we're working on? So we haven't changed much of what you look like at the foul line. We changed how you feel for sure. And you're very in tune with that, which is good. That's what high-level players are. They're very in tune with what they feel like and what it should feel like going to the line. What you got to let go of and kind of throw caution to the wind is, I'm changing things so it's supposed to feel different. And different doesn't mean bad. Different just means different. My wife and I had this argument. I'll put this on tape too. The argument was, you're not doing it right or wrong. You're doing it different. And her side of it was, it's not right. I don't like it that way. Well, whether you like it or not, it's different. It's not what you like and don't like, right? And so we went back and forth. It got into dinner, the whole thing, right? If you can let your player step out of the fact that it's right or wrong or it's good or bad and just say it's different and how can I apply it, that's what you're looking for. How do you stretch that versatility to let somebody learn? It's just different, and different doesn't have to work. Different may work, it may not. It just is what it is at the point. And that's what you got to get through somebody's head sometimes. But you're already in tune with how you throw it, and it looks pretty consistent, pretty good. I'm not sure that I'd change much other than to move you around on the approach a little bit and kind of see what happens when you play deeper or straighter to that same type of tempo and positioning, and then let you kind of play with it a little bit and see. So whether you want to go outside more or inside, you take your pick as to what you think.
I think inside is probably more
conducive for useful, for that too. So throw some shots from inside, kind of adjust your alignment, keeping in mind the two things we talked about, and just see where it lands as far as what feels good.
Inside, like a fourth arrow.
Yeah, well, I don't know the pattern, so we don't know the pattern. Just left of where you're comfortable going. Doesn't matter.
Left of where I am comfortable?
No, where you are.
Okay.
Where you are now. Sorry, I said that wrong. Yeah, I'm looking for focus on the stuff we're doing first, and then what is the result of the effort. Once I see the result, was it good or bad? Did it work or not work? Address it with the athlete to kind of find out if that's their interpretation too. And then once I've got that either balance between the two of us or understand where they're feeling what they're feeling, then I would communicate back to either changing something else to try and get a different feel, or keeping the same scenario and letting him experiment like we're doing now, different parts of the lane. High-level players need to practice more than just one spot, one thing. He liked that. Did you like that shot? Yeah. You can see his body language at the bottom of the swing. When you let go of it and he sits there and the hand does this, it's like, nailed it, right? I'm right on. I'm good. Not only am I good, but it looked good and felt good. I'm not moving from this because it feels good, right? Do it again. Part of me wishes we had a lane pattern out here instead of this cosmic stuff. See him fake it? There's a little fake move where he tries it. Then he remembers, I got to keep it. That's good. That's really good.
I like that a lot.
Like that one too?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I get that
normally.
Really? Feels strong underneath it, feels stable, feels directionally controlled. That's a good shot. I called the same thing you called when you said it. Good shot. Very good shot.
Thank you.
All right, Coach. See you. See you tomorrow.
A little farther.
That setup was different. Instead of kind of giving it the move, right? He kind of set into it, and then he kind of settled into it. Difference. We're talking about how we're perceiving what you do. And a couple of shots ago, we saw you remind yourself, I'm supposed to flex my knees, and then you kind of stood up, then you went back down into it. This one, you set into it, and then you kind of settled into it a little differently.
A little more?
Yeah, it was more.
Yeah, what I'm trying to do is just do what I used to do. I'm
Yeah.
going to say normally.
Yeah.
And then adjust from that.
Yes. Yeah. That should be the steps. That's a logical progression of making it fit into my game now, and not overhauling my game and making something different. Yep. That's good. His posture's good too. I'm watching his upper body posture through the shots. It looks pretty good through the shots. Not a lot of sway. He's actually landing them the same and not pulling out of them. There you go. A little bit, because he's deeper on this angle. Yeah. He's definitely, so as he moves his body into the left-hand side of the lane, he shouldn't stay straight. He should do exactly what you're saying. He's going to keep tilting his heels a little bit or realigning his shot. And so his target and trajectory go this way and not straight at the lane. Exactly right. Yep.
Scores are falling off.
Yeah, you need to work on that.
Question.
Yeah.
I mean, this looked good. So why would we go with the knee bend, tilt forward, instead of going the other way of telling him to maintain posture and walk taller? Is it just because it felt more natural to him to bend forward and bend the knees?
Well, in my assessment, if we keep him taller, and the issue that I saw regularly was that when he would change posture, it would affect his release point too. If we preset him by giving him a posture change and or a knee bend or a knee flex, then we have less chance of him moving his arm swing positioning throughout the approach. And so by setting him up and then asking him to maintain that speed or that position, we actually limit how much his arm swing can control where he's going to move back and forth. Posture is the biggest key in timing, right? We said that in presentation multiple times. Biggest hinge in the body. And so if we can maintain that positioning and let the hinge just work from the position, then it's all lower body just moving it forward and backward. Everything else just is along for the ride. And that's what we want. Ideally, we want the lower body to just be our motor. Our upper body is our arm and guide. Everything underneath that is basically just changing direction and changing how it comes off the launch lever, so to speak. So if we keep him upright and we keep his knees up tall, or maybe just bend his knees but keep him upright, the concern and with doing that is that if he stays upright and continues to do this, my concern is he doesn't finish in that position. He does occasionally what he was doing, which was to stand back. Stand back up on it, so to speak, or get taller with his posture. His knees will get low, which they have to do because he's got to get the ball down to the floor. But his posture at the bottom of the swing would continue to sway back up from what he had leaned into. And so I'm trying to, more than anything, eliminate how much of this happens by letting him get into it, but leave it there. And then he can get lower, which he commented that I feel like I'm a little too tall, I feel like I'm higher at my release. So I recommended the knee bend to get lower to compensate for that. So the two pieces that are happening are kind of going toward the same direction to fix one thing, but the combination gives him the feeling he's looking for at low and the stability of the upper body not changing his release point. Yeah. So it's really a balancing act, and it's hard sometimes to even pick which way to go, because
that's why I'm asking.
how do you choose which way to go? Yeah.
I do similar to him. I try to stay tall.
Yeah.
I always watch Chris Prather.
Uh-huh.
Chris Prather stays fairly tall.
Yep.
So that's why I want to know why you went this route instead of the Prather route.
Yeah.
Maintain the posture a little bit more.
Yeah. Him maintaining posture right now causes that sway, and that sway was the liability for me. So to keep that posture from allowing that to happen, you are staying a little taller with your posture than I would like to see. I'd like to see you a little bit more forward to start, but I don't mind you as long as when you get forward, you stay there. And that
even more than I have adjusted.
Even a little bit more than you've adjusted. But to take you from I'm doing this through my approach to I want to do this now through my approach is a big difference. And so when I show you that extreme and you feel it and you go, maybe that's not who I am, or maybe that's not right for me, odds are you're going to go back to this motion where you've kind of dipped into this sway, so to speak. Doesn't mean that you can't stay tall and use your knees to get low, but at that point I still need this stable, because the more unstable this becomes, the more the arm swing changes direction, the more the hand changes direction. So I'm trying to stabilize the big joints first, and then let the knees be the shock absorber, so to speak, and the high and low of the whole process, more so than trying to just keep him tall. And, well, in that case, if I kept him tall, what would be an adjustment to try and let him feel like he's not moving forward so much? Because right now, what I saw in the correction was too far forward, too much back. So what would be the correction? If I make him tall, do I leave him there the whole time?
Well, it would be more of a gradual, so that way when he goes tall until he gets up to power step,
Yeah.
you go through it. Is
That's when he stays. Okay.
Yes.
I can see that.
So stay taller, a little bit gradual with the backswing, but then,
Yeah.
maintain that through the power step.
See what he's saying? So he's saying an option to try and keep you from having too much posture change would be to keep you tall, but not let you go into your normal motion, let you get gradual into that motion and land eventually at the finish position there, not get into position and stay there.
Yeah.
I'm getting you into a position sooner in your approach. He's saying get there later down the road.
Yeah, and the difference of that is that's by feel. As opposed, if I get into the right position now, I know I'm there. So it's like a shortcut. It's like cheating almost.
Sure.
So if I'm at the expense of staying tall, I'm getting into it early.
I think it'd be easier to get in that position and maintain that position, trying to get into the proper position as you're going, though.
It's definitely easier, but is it better?
Is it better? That's a good
That
point.
feels comfortable for you.
Yeah.
Right. Well, right now, since it's new,
Yeah.
getting into the position now does. But I guess that's a secondary goal.
Bringing up that thought process, the next thing I might ask you to do as a team would be, let's try to stay taller and let it be gradual and just see the difference. You would feedback the difference to us and say, this one's better or not because, and it's just experimentation at that point.
I'm up for it, but the lane turned off.
Doing that a little taller and then going into gradual, will that help with a little bit
I don't know.
flat
It's
spot?
on. What if I throw a ball?
Help get the hand underneath it. If you're going down a little bit when the hand comes through,
Yeah.
that helps him.
He didn't charge me.
Yeah,
It's a
anytime you
class.
change the hinges, right? You change the waist, you change the elbow, you change the wrist. When you change those hinges, it could flatten out that flat spot and make it smoother, so to speak, or make it longer. It could. The concern with me going that way with it is that when the posture continues to go down and the hand's coming underneath and you've got this motion kind of happening together, you're collapsing those two together. If those don't stay in the same spot at the right release point, you release a little higher or lower sometimes, your trajectory is a little different, your loft's a little different, you can land differently on the floor. By presetting it early and keeping it and letting the swing shape happen, I'm trying to maintain the same level of consistency of height when I preset his knees and get his posture in that spot early. But it could work that he likes this position and gradual works. Just that it just depends on the player. Depends on what's up to him. So that's a good way to at least toss it in there as an option. Yeah, that's what we do as coaches, right? It's not my way. Here's the way to do it, and this is all it's going to
This
be.
way is the best way.
No, he's gonna give it a try. All right, so you want to give it a shot?
Yeah.
All right, so you're going to stay tall to start. It's going to be a gradual posture change forward. And how far do you want him to go? How long through his approach can he keep going forward?
What do you need? How many degrees?
How many degrees you want?
20 degrees?
What you want?
Oh, yeah. No more than 45.
To where I'm setting up, basically, right?
It's about where you always finish. Where you are, just slightly forward. And above your feet.
Yeah, it's really just what I'm going to do is just basically back it off a little bit from what I'm used to.
And he continues to keep going forward through more of the approach and not pausing it forward. Okay. You're letting him continue the downward motion.
There, I'm fixed. I was definitely off balance there.
Yeah.
That felt good to me.
Liked it?
Yeah.
Okay.
How far?
What do you think?
What is the eye test?
What do you guys think?
Too far?
I'm asking their opinion. I got my own, but I'm asking theirs.
But he does tend to lean forward right away.
Mhm.
That is what I saw.
His natural move is to lean
Right away.
excessively. Yep.
Right away, go on.
Yeah.
If you're asking him to stay taller throughout, then ask him to stay taller throughout and let him continue gradually going down. See it come back up though. He'll get down to the point where even the backswing kind of forces him down still. But at that point, at that point you're asking him either to stay in that spot or you're asking him to swing through and recover from that spot. One of the two. Ideally, to keep this from feeling like the swing shape changes his hand position or how much he hits or lifts the ball, maintaining that position is in my opinion, a better position than, hey, you're allowed to get here and react to you can react to the arm swing coming up after the fact, but down in the downswing, we don't want you changing your posture at all. We want it to maintain through the release point.
Be more consistent. I feel like starting out.
Sure. Yep. So they're kind of going almost the other way a little bit still.
Yeah, I mean, like asking me to go to a, I don't know, about here spot, and what does that mean to my brain? What are you actually telling me?
Yeah.
It's ambiguous.
Sure.
Whereas
without a camera on you to kind of measure it and see and show you and let you feel shot to shot, it's hard to say more or less. Right?
And even then, it's like you're still just by feel. It's not
Exactly
like you can adjust it. It'd be nice.
AI is coming. We'll be able to adjust it at some point.
Yeah, that's right. Like adjust spine tilts. I felt so tall there.
Pretty stable, right?
I look tall.
You look taller, but you're more stable. You didn't pop your head up.
Yeah, I was purposely thinking about that shot.
Your whole tempo, everything was slower, so it helped the ball read the lane for what the lanes are playing right now. It helped the ball.
Yeah,
I would agree.
finally getting strikes. I felt like I got around that one. I didn't get through it.
I don't know. I think you should do like the kid on 13.
I thought about bailing, but I thought, no, just shoot it.
It's not bad. It's pretty good.
That one, I was telling myself to just and go where it goes.
Yeah, that was good. That looked clean off the bottom of the swing. Your hand looked clean off the bottom. Your posture was good. You stayed through with the release.
So then if we're talking about changing your hand position, like I'm saying, like right now, we're saying just let the hand go where it goes.
Yeah.
How do you adjust hand position?
So once you've determined that it's the same shot after shot, you can repeat the same direction. Most people will try to come back to what they normally do in their stance and just change their hand in their stance and go, okay, now it's going to be different because I changed it here. That almost, in my experience, almost never works. I'm going to preset I'm doing what I normally do. Now I want to change my hands. I'm just going to do more of this or more of that or more of whatever it's going to be, right? And then you go through the full motion and your hand goes back to what momentum tells it to do, and you're trying to get back to where you started, but the swing doesn't keep you in that position. And so if I'm going to train somebody to change their hand positions, we start at the foul line. We start on one knee, and I go, okay, what are we trying to get to first? Here's your normal. Here's what the swing feels like normal off your hand. Here's what more of this or that feels like, whatever it is. We're going to try that and show you what that feels like. Then we're going to throw some shots on one knee, getting a feel for what the weight feels like as it's in that position. We're going to watch the ball move and see what it does differently. We're going to build that back into your approach. Because if I tell you to change your hand here or there and expect it to happen, odds are it's not. So small fraction is possibly going to happen differently or enough differently. So we build it back from the ground, so to speak, or from the foul line back, and then you get a one step doing the same thing, just trying to get the feel until you can go not from one step to 2 to 3 to 4, but from one step with the right feel back to about a half speed approach and then a full speed approach, so that the hand position stays with you the whole time. And we build your game a little bit around that hand position, because right now, if you say I want more on it, how many things have to change for you to get more on it? It'd be great if we said just do this and you're going to get more on it. But typically, because you're doing more here, you need things to slow down, give you more time to do more, give you a different direction to do more. You need 3 or 4 things to work to give you that. If we build that back into your game and let you feel that the whole way through, it becomes easier to repeat and faster to find out what the result should be from where you start. So to change your release at this point, easy to do. We just got to work from there back.
Okay. What I personally have tried to do, not super successfully, is think about what finger I want to roll the ball off.
Yep, that's a great method for interpretation of what it's supposed to feel like at the bottom. I'd use that example down at the foul line to go, okay, show me that feel, show me this feel, and see what happens, and then build that feel back to how it's supposed to feel doing that, focusing on that through the entire approach. Yeah, that's when I build somebody's hand position and feel, or different hand position for a game, if I try to just change the hand and don't change the rest of the outfit with it, I'm changing one factor I'm trying to change after the entire approach has happened. It's a crapshoot, in my opinion, to really make it make sense to be different in that spot without making it work back into your game. It's so fast. Releases are one of the last things you teach people to change until the environment makes you change it, right? Because it makes you change your release when you go far enough left. You got to change your release going straight down the lane, then you do that direction. So you'll force yourself to do that, and you'll force yourself to feel something different at release. But if I'm trying to develop a release for somebody that's changing parts of their game, we build it back in.
Makes sense?
Yep. I took a guy who was a 230 average player. On most tournaments he bowled. He could not get left of third arrow very well. He says, in the beginning of a tournament, I will run him over. I'll beat him up all day long and be the leader by 100 pins. Games 4, 5, 6, whatever it is, up to 8, they catch me every time because he couldn't get left of third arrow and slow it down enough to learn how to get his hand to shape the shot. And so I put him on his knee in the left gutter, basically, or in front of it. I taught him how to hook the ball with a slow motion on his knee. This guy averages 230. He's high in the house, really? And I've got him on one knee like a kid down there. People are looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm going, he needs to feel it first. 20 minutes after we kind of went through some cycles of doing it, he's against the ball return left, circling the entire lane. Now, he wasn't good at it. He knew what it felt like to do it, but now he had the shape and the motion to be able to do it, and you had it up here, right. And so I said, practice it. You got to practice it a lot, because the players that are used to catching you or beating you, they practice doing it, or they're used to doing it in their environments. So I haven't caught up with him to know how it worked, but I wasn't afraid to take him to that spot and say, here's how to do it based off what I know the biomechanics say to do. And so I need to check in with him. He's a guy in Arizona. But he was really, really awesome in just giving in to the fact that, hey, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to trust you to go take me where you want to take me to learn how to do this. And by the time we got done in 20 minutes, he was happy. He was happier going, man, I never see fourth arrow. I never see fifth arrow, so to speak. And he was throwing shots at the sixth pin, so to speak, and they were curving right back into the pocket. But he had to learn to slow it down. It's different. Our game's not easy, and until you break it down to its biomechanic pieces and understand what affects what, it becomes hard to just change something like that. At a high level, especially as good as you are, you've got feel already. You know what's worked and what hasn't worked. To change those feels like we've done here today, they're not easy to conceptually go to your next couple practice sessions and keep doing, because your body wants to go back to what works all the time. And so it's not easy. This is where you review the information, right? The nuances of how you say it felt versus what I'm saying to do, what coach said to do. And so those things move you forward in the progression of getting better. And you're not going to get better exponentially, right? Because we're already at a good level. You throw it good, your hand's good on the bottom of it, you can change positions with your hand, just even learning to let it go versus hitting it more. So you've already got keys to doing it. It's just a matter now of isolating what they are, learning what they do, and putting them in place when they're supposed to happen. That's the hard part. When am I supposed to go deeper in and do less to it?
Right.
Or, I mean, it's the when. It's not just the how. It's the when at that point that now
that's
becomes
tomorrow,
the win. That's the hard part. Yeah, that's the hard part.
Yeah,
They're loading up. We're going to be piled on to before too long here.
Should we keep
You got a
going,
couple
or-
minutes. So a couple more shots if you want. You got 3 minutes. It looks like on the lane. They're eventually gonna run us off here because it's Saturday night. They need the cosmic lanes, right? We'll let him work on the shots now.
Thanks.
They play at 6:30. I kept taking up Iowa. I was thinking Iowa game better.
Don, as you're in your last couple of minutes, if you can still hear me on the audio here, I just want to say thanks for letting me hang out. Let me kind of get a chance to overview your game, and really appreciate you letting the other coaches be a part of it too. Not only a good, solid game to start with, but you've already got a lot of good attributes that are built into your game naturally. You've worked hard on it. It looks a couple of times when I've watched you play as if maybe you overthink a little bit. Maybe sometimes it becomes a little bit too much about focus and thought process, a little bit less about how physically you're executing shots. And so I'd say let yourself go a little bit. Let yourself learn to just move around your physical game and not feel like you're so tight or so loose, because your mechanics are really, really good already. And so stick with the tips we talked about, the posture change, the knee flex, perhaps learn a little different release tactics or release characteristics as you continue to develop your practice sessions. And not only expect to see you doing well down the road, but maybe maybe hear about some tournaments
all day long.
So thanks again, Don. Appreciate it. You look good on the lanes, and I appreciate you letting me spend the time with you. Look forward to hanging out for another day. We got one more day to go in class. We'll do some lessons tomorrow in the lanes, talk about bowling balls and lane play, and then good luck on your silver test as you continue your journey in coaching. Left you a message on the back end, a couple of reminders, a couple of things.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I heard you talking. I was like, oh, he's doing that for me.
Yeah. A little bit of recall to make sure that what I was talking about was hearing.